The story of the quantum-locked human battleship began in a time when humanity was still trying to find its place in the vast universe. People on Earth had been sending probes and colonies into space for decades, but humans were still seen by other civilizations as a minor, almost insignificant presence in the galactic arena. While other species had advanced fleets, massive colonies, and centuries of experience, humans were still struggling to make life sustainable beyond their home planet. Yet, somewhere in that struggle, something extraordinary was waiting to be discovered. It started in a remote asteroid belt on the edge of explored space. Scientists had been studying the belt for years, mapping its rocks, metals, and ice formations, mostly for mining purposes. Then, deep inside a dark, hidden crevice of a massive asteroid, a small team of explorers found something that would change everything. At first, it seemed like a strange, metallic object, weathered by time and space. It didn't match any human design or natural formation. It had geometric patterns that seemed impossible, with smooth surfaces that reflected light in unusual ways. Even the most experienced engineers on the team were baffled. The discovery was immediately brought back to Earth's orbiting research stations, where teams of scientists, engineers, and strategists began to study it. They quickly realized this was no ordinary piece of debris. It was part of a highly advanced spacecraft, long abandoned, but far ahead of anything humans had ever built. Its structure suggested capabilities beyond imagination: extreme durability, energy systems that didn't match known physics, and mechanisms that hinted at travel faster than anything previously possible. Some called it a miracle, while others were wary, unsure if they had stumbled onto something dangerous. The human scientists worked around the clock, poring over schematics, analyzing the materials, and slowly understanding the principles behind the ship's design. Every day brought new surprises. Tiny subsystems in the craft seemed almost alive, reacting in ways no one could initially explain. Its energy source was stable yet limitless, and its hull could absorb or deflect forces that would destroy ordinary ships. Most astonishing of all was what they called its quantum lock system, a method of stabilizing the ship across dimensions of space and time, allowing movements that were nearly instantaneous. For years, this had been just theoretical physics, something only possible in equations. But here it was, existing in metal and energy, tangible proof that humans could build, or at least understand, something so revolutionary that the discovery didn't remain secret for long. Even in the controlled environment of space, news traveled quickly. Earth governments and military organizations realized that if this technology could be harnessed, humanity could leap centuries ahead of any other civilization. Plans were drawn up, not just for study, but for construction. A new ship, inspired by the ancient prototype, but built entirely by humans. This would be humanity's first real step into the realm of super-powerful space warships, capable of defending the planet and its colonies in ways never before possible. There was excitement, of course, but also fear. The project was unlike anything humanity had ever attempted. It required a combination of military precision, scientific genius, and technological innovation that stretched the limits of human skill. Thousands of engineers, physicists, and programmers were gathered from every corner of Earth. They worked together in orbital factories, constructing parts in zero gravity, testing systems under extreme conditions, and slowly bringing the ship to life piece by piece. The process was painstaking. Many nights ended with frustration and exhaustion, yet no one gave up. Driven by the vision of what this ship could become, the human team understood that this battleship would not be just another weapon. It had to represent humanity's best qualities: creativity, resilience, and courage. Engineers designed systems that could respond to threats autonomously, while pilots and strategists studied how to operate it under conditions they had never faced before. Every crew member had to be trained in multiple fields, from astrophysics to advanced combat techniques. to ensure that when the ship finally became operational, it could act not just as a tool, but as an extension of human ingenuity itself. Outside the research stations, life continued as normal for most people on Earth. Few understood what was happening in orbit, and even fewer could imagine the scale of what was being built. Humanity was quietly preparing for a future that might involve defending its colonies from hostile alien civilizations, or even asserting its place in the galaxy. The quantum-locked battleship was still just a name at that point, a whisper among scientists and military strategists. But those who knew of it felt a sense of awe and responsibility. They understood that this ship could become a turning point in history, a force that could change the balance of power in the universe forever. As months turned into years, the ship began to take shape. Its hull shimmered with an otherworldly gleam, reflecting light in ways that seemed almost alive. Inside, systems hummed with energy, stabilizing in a rhythm that felt almost biological. Engineers marveled at how smoothly everything came together, as if the ship itself knew how it should be built. The quantum lock, a feature that would allow it to move in ways no other ship could, was tested repeatedly. Early experiments were small and cautious short jumps across orbital distances, tests of shields against simulated attacks, but every test succeeded beyond expectation. The crew began to realize that they were witnessing the birth of something far greater than a simple spacecraft. There was tension, too. As the ship neared completion, debates arose among leaders and scientists. Could humanity be trusted with such power? Would deploying this weapon provoke fear or even war with other civilizations? The discussions were heated, but in the end, the potential benefits outweighed the risks. This battleship wasn't meant to conquer, it was meant to protect, to safeguard human colonies, and to ensure that Earth could survive and thrive in the vast, often hostile universe. By the time the quantum-locked human battleship was ready for its first trial, it was no longer just a machine. It represented the culmination of decades of human effort, the collaboration of thousands of brilliant minds, and the unyielding spirit of a species determined to survive and grow. As the crew prepared for the first tests in deep space, there was a shared feeling of anticipation and humility. They were about to pilot something that could alter the course of history, something that embodied both the genius and responsibility of humanity. In that moment, floating silently in the void of space, the ship seemed almost alive. Its energy systems pulsed, the hull gleamed under the distant light of stars, and for a fleeting moment, it felt as though the entire universe was watching. Humans had built something extraordinary, and the first step in their journey to becoming a galactic force had begun. The quantum-locked battleship was no longer just a dream, it was real, and it would soon show the galaxy what humans were truly capable of. Building the quantum-locked human battleship was more than just assembling metal and machinery. It was a monumental human achievement. Every part of the ship, from its hull to its power cores, had to be designed with precision, and every system tested under conditions that no human had ever faced before. Engineers and scientists worked side by side with the military, sharing ideas and solving problems together. The task was so enormous that it seemed impossible at first, yet everyone involved felt a deep sense of purpose. They knew they were shaping the future of humanity. The design of the battleship was unlike any spacecraft humanity had ever seen. It was enormous, yet sleek, capable of moving through space with incredible speed and agility. Its hull was reinforced with advanced alloys and energy-absorbing materials that could survive blasts far stronger than conventional weapons. Inside, the ship was a marvel of technology, with rooms and corridors built for efficiency and comfort, allowing the crew to operate at peak performance even during the most dangerous missions. Every system was interconnected, communicating seamlessly through a quantum network that allowed instantaneous coordination, far beyond the reach of normal computers. One of the most fascinating features of the ship was its self-learning artificial intelligence. Unlike standard AI systems, this one could adapt to unexpected situations, learning from every encounter to improve its responses. Engineers designed it to be more than a tool. It became a partner to the crew, anticipating their needs and assisting in decisions when threats appeared. The AI monitored the ship constantly, ensuring that every system ran smoothly, and even managing repairs when minor damage occurred. It was as if the ship had a mind of its own, responding to the environment and protecting the people inside it. The crew selected for the yacht's Battleship was equally extraordinary. They were not just soldiers or pilots. They were scientists, engineers, and strategists trained in multiple disciplines. Each member had to understand the ship's technology intimately, from quantum mechanics to energy systems, to ensure it could operate at its full potential. They spent months in training, simulations, and tests, learning to work together as a team. Trust among the crew was essential because in space, a single mistake could mean disaster. Over time, a bond formed between them, a sense of unity that made them more than a crew. They became a single entity, synchronized with the ship itself. The construction of the ship took place in massive orbiting facilities, floating silently above Earth. These stations were designed specifically to handle the enormous scale of the project, with zero-gravity assembly areas, advanced robotic systems, and laboratories for testing every component. Teams of engineers worked around the clock, assembling the ship piece by piece. Even the smallest error could have catastrophic consequences, so attention to detail was absolute. Workers often spent weeks on a single section of the ship, ensuring that every system, every joint, every circuit was perfect. Despite the challenges, the atmosphere among the people building the ship was electric. There was excitement in every corner of the stations. Engineers would gather after long shifts to discuss new ideas or marvel at a particularly elegant solution someone had found. Scientists debated over the most efficient energy configurations, while military strategists imagined how the ship could be used to defend human colonies. It was a rare moment in human history when people from so many different fields worked together toward a single goal, each contributing their unique expertise to create something that was more than the sum of its parts. The quantum lock system was the heart of the battleship. It was a technology that allowed the ship to move in ways that were previously thought impossible. Early experiments had shown that the ship could appear in one location and then instantly be in another, bypassing vast distances of space in moments. Engineers had to be meticulous in designing this system because a single miscalculation could tear the ship apart. They spent months running simulations, testing the limits of the quantum lock and perfecting the algorithms that controlled it. It was one of the most challenging tasks in the entire construction process, but it was also the key to the ship's unprecedented power. The weapon systems of the Battleship were equally revolutionary. Every weapon was integrated into the ship's quantum network, allowing for precise targeting and instantaneous response. Traditional energy weapons, missiles, and defensive systems were combined with new technology that could neutralize threats in ways never seen before. Engineers designed these systems not just for offense, but for efficiency, ensuring that the ship could operate for long periods without resupply. It was a delicate balance between power and sustainability, and achieving it required the best minds in multiple disciplines working together. As the ship neared completion, small tests began. These were cautious and controlled, far from populated areas and observation points. Engineers monitored the ship's responses to different stress tests, while the crew practiced maneuvers and learned the intricacies of the systems. Each successful test brought relief and a growing sense of confidence. Slowly, the ship began to feel alive, almost like a living entity that responded to the intentions and commands of its crew. This bond between human and machine was something unique, something that no other civilization had yet achieved. The psychological aspect of the ship was just as important as the technological one. The crew had to be ready for the immense responsibility that came with piloting such a powerful weapon. Long hours were spent in training simulations, learning to make critical decisions under pressure. The crew had to anticipate the unexpected, understand the behavior of the ship in extreme conditions, and work together as a unit that could think faster than any individual. It was a demanding process, but it prepared them for the reality of operating a ship that could change the course of human history. Throughout construction, there were debates and discussions about the purpose of the battleship. Some argued that its primary role should be defense, to protect human colonies from any threat. Others saw it as a tool to ensure humanity's influence in the galaxy. These debates were important because they shaped the philosophy behind the ship. In the end, the decision was made that it would be used responsibly, as a guardian rather than a conqueror. This principle guided every aspect of its construction, from the design of the weapons to the training of the crew. By the time the quantum-locked human battleship was finally assembled, it was more than just a machine. It was a symbol of human ingenuity, resilience, and ambition. The ship represented what humanity could achieve when people from different backgrounds, with different skills and experiences, worked together toward a shared goal. Engineers, scientists, and crew members alike felt pride in what they had created, knowing that this was a milestone, not just for Earth, but for all of humanity. As the first crew members boarded the ship for final preparations, they were filled with a mix of awe and responsibility. Every system hummed with energy, every console displayed vital information, and the quantum lock pulsed with a subtle rhythm that suggested intelligence and awareness. For the first time, humans would operate a ship that could perform feats beyond imagination, a ship that could move and respond in ways that no one else could match. The anticipation was immense, and the feeling of stepping into history was palpable. This was the beginning of a new era. The quantum-locked battleship was ready, but it had yet to be tested in the realities of space beyond simulations. Its full potential, the power that would one day make it the weapon that ended all opposition, was still unknown. But one thing was certain: humanity had created something extraordinary, something that would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. The battleship stood as a testament to what humans could achieve when courage, creativity, and determination came together. Every person involved in the project, from the engineers tightening bolts in zero gravity to the strategists running simulations, knew they were part of something bigger than themselves. The ship was more than technology. It was hope, ambition, and the future of humanity shaped into one living, breathing machine. As it floated silently in orbit, ready for its first trials, the universe seemed to pause for a moment, acknowledging the arrival of something that had never existed before, a weapon born from the brilliance and resilience of the human spirit. The first real test of the quantum-locked human battleship was a moment of immense tension and excitement. Until now, all the simulations, calculations, and controlled experiments had been successful, but space could be unpredictable. No matter how much preparation and training the crew had undergone, this first trial was about discovering whether the ship could truly perform under the pressures of the universe beyond controlled conditions. Every system, every mechanism, every piece of equipment would be challenged in ways no one had ever experienced. The weight of history pressed on everyone involved. The location chosen for the first trial was far from any human colony or populated area. The team wanted complete safety in case anything went wrong, but the environment still needed to be as close to realistic conditions as possible. A distant star system was selected, one with asteroid belts, radiation fields, and variable gravitational forces, a natural laboratory for testing the limits of the ship. The crew prepared for the journey meticulously, checking every system multiple times, running simulations of potential failures, and rehearsing emergency procedures. Every member of the team knew that they were about to witness the results of decades of human effort in a single, historic event. As the ship left orbit, there was a quiet sense of anticipation. For the crew, the feeling was a mixture of excitement, nervousness, and awe. Floating in the command chamber, surrounded by consoles and holographic displays, they watched as the vast expanse of space unfolded before them. The ship responded to their commands smoothly, almost instinctively, as if it understood what they intended even before they spoke. The quantum lock, the most advanced and mysterious system aboard, pulsed with a subtle rhythm, ready to demonstrate its full potential. The first trial involved basic maneuvers, testing the ship's ability to navigate through a dense asteroid field. Normally, such a field would be a dangerous obstacle, even for the most advanced ships, with rocks large enough to crush a conventional vessel in seconds. But the battleship moved with an almost supernatural precision. Its quantum sensors detected objects in real time, predicting their paths and adjusting the ship's position almost instantaneously. The crew watched in awe as the ship weaved through the asteroids, changing direction with a speed and accuracy that no human pilot could match. It was clear that the technology was not just functional, it was revolutionary. Came the test of speed and dimensional travel. The crew initiated the quantum lock for the first time in a real-world scenario, intending to teleport the ship a distance equivalent to several light years. The anticipation was tense. Everyone understood the risks. If the calculations were even slightly off, the ship could be lost, or worse, destroyed. Yet, as the quantum lock activated, a ripple of energy passed through the vessel, and in an instant, they were at the target coordinates. Light years away, with no damage, no disruption, and no signs of strain on the systems. The crew couldn't help but exhale in relief and wonder. They had just witnessed something that had been theoretical for centuries: instantaneous movement across unimaginable distances. After the teleportation test, attention turned to the ship's defensive and offensive capabilities. Engineers and strategists had prepared a series of controlled simulations involving energy blasts, kinetic projectiles, and electromagnetic interference to test the limits of the hull and shield systems. The ship's response was nothing short of astonishing. It absorbed massive amounts of energy, deflected projectiles with precision, and deployed countermeasures autonomously, neutralizing the threats before the crew even had a chance to react. It was clear that this battleship was not just strong, it was adaptive, capable of responding to unforeseen challenges in real time. The most impressive demonstration, however, came when the ship's weapon systems were tested. Integrated with the quantum network, the weapons responded instantly to the crew's commands and even predicted the movement of simulated enemy vessels. Advanced targeting algorithms allowed the ship to strike with pinpoint accuracy, neutralizing every target in the test without error. The precision and efficiency of the ship made the crew feel a mix of pride and disbelief. Humanity had created something that was no longer just a tool, it was a force, capable of overwhelming any challenge it faced. Throughout the trial, the bond between the crew and the ship grew stronger. The more they interacted with it, the more it seemed to anticipate their needs, providing suggestions, stabilizing maneuvers, and even highlighting potential dangers before they became apparent. The AI system was proving to be more than software. It was a partner, complementing human intuition with the raw processing power of quantum computation. The crew realized that they were not simply piloting a machine, they were working in harmony with a technological entity that had its own awareness and understanding of space. Yet there were moments of tension. Of course, not every maneuver went perfectly, and unexpected anomalies in the asteroid field tested the crew's ability to remain calm under pressure. But each challenge reinforced the effectiveness of the ship and the training of the team. They learned to trust the quantum systems, but also to rely on their own judgment. This balance between human decision-making and machine efficiency became a defining feature of the experience. The crew understood that this ship was powerful, but it was still human ingenuity that would guide its use in the real universe. By the end of the first full trial, it was clear that the battleship had exceeded expectations. Not only had it survived the tests, but it had also demonstrated capabilities that had been considered impossible. Teleportation, adaptive defense, instant targeting, and autonomous systems all working together seamlessly. The ship had proven that humanity could create something that was not just equal to the technologies of more advanced civilizations, but in some ways superior. The implications were enormous, not just for defense, but for humanity's position in the galaxy. News of the successful test, though initially classified, eventually reached higher levels of human leadership. While most people on Earth would not yet understand the significance, those who did realized that the planet had entered a new era. Humanity had demonstrated that it could innovate, adapt, and create a force that could ensure survival and security in the most dangerous environments. Strategists began to consider the broader implications. The ship could serve as a guardian, a deterrent, and a symbol of what humans could achieve when, united by purpose and ambition. The first trial also had a profound psychological effect on the crew. Experiencing the ship's power firsthand, they felt a deep sense of responsibility. They were entrusted with something that could change the course of history, a tool capable of immense destruction if misused. Yet alongside that responsibility came pride and wonder. They had become the first humans to operate a vessel that could move faster than light, respond to threats autonomously, and perform feats previously thought impossible. Every member of the crew understood that they were living history, shaping the future of humanity with every decision they made aboard the ship. As the trials continued over the following weeks, the ship was tested in increasingly complex scenarios. Maneuvers through asteroid storms, simulated attacks from multiple directions, and long-range teleportation exercises became part of the daily routine. Each trial revealed new insights, new ways to improve efficiency, and new opportunities to push the limits of human understanding. The battleship was not only performing flawlessly, but it was also teaching its crew, revealing possibilities that no human had predicted. It was as if the ship itself was evolving, growing more capable with every test, and in doing so, preparing humanity for challenges that lay beyond the known universe. By the time the first trial period concluded, it was clear that the quantum-locked human battleship was unlike anything else in existence. It was not just a machine. It was a masterpiece of engineering, a testament to human determination, and a symbol of what could be achieved when people worked together toward a common goal. For the first time, humans had something that could stand toe-to-toe with any civilization in the galaxy. Something that could protect Earth and its colonies with unmatched precision and power. The crew returned to Earth orbit with a sense of accomplishment, yet also with the awareness that this was only the beginning. The battleship had passed its first real tests, but the universe was vast, unpredictable, and full of challenges humanity had yet to face. The lessons learned during these early trials would shape future missions, refine strategies, and guide the development of additional systems. The quantum-locked human battleship had proven itself, but it also demanded respect, care, and responsible use. In those early moments after the trial, as the crew floated in the control chambers and watched the stars pass by, a quiet realization settled over them. They were no longer just humans in space. They were pioneers, guardians, and witnesses to a new era of possibility. The ship had opened a door to the future, showing humanity that it was capable of achieving greatness beyond imagination. And as the stars stretched endlessly around them, the crew knew that this was only the beginning of a journey that would change the galaxy forever. The first real conflict for the quantum-locked human battleship came sooner than anyone had expected. Humanity had been exploring the outer colonies, establishing new settlements and trading outposts, when reports arrived of a hostile alien fleet approaching one of the human colonies. This fleet was unlike any human vessels. It was large, heavily armed, and had a reputation for attacking weaker civilizations without warning. For years, humans had relied on diplomacy and careful maneuvering to avoid confrontations. But now, a direct threat loomed over one of their own. The urgency was clear. The colony could be wiped out unless someone acted decisively. The battleship, still fresh from its initial trials, was called into action. For the crew, this was the moment they had trained for. The first time their ship would be tested against real opposition. Every member of the team felt a mixture of determination, excitement, and nerves. They knew that what they did next would not only save lives, but could also redefine humanity's place in the galaxy. There was no room for error. The ship had been designed for defense and precision, but now it had to prove that it could perform under the chaos of real combat. As the battleship approached the contested system, the alien fleet came into view. It was massive, with hundreds of ships moving in coordinated formations, their weapons charged and ready. The humans could see the sheer scale of the threat, and for a brief moment, a wave of tension passed through the crew. But the battleship itself seemed almost calm, as if it understood the challenge and was prepared to meet it. Every system hummed with energy, shields activating, weapons aligning, and the quantum lock running silent calculations in the background. The first engagement was sudden. Alien ships launched a series of energy blasts, striking at the battleship from multiple directions. The ship responded instantly. Its shields absorbed the attacks, while automated countermeasures neutralized incoming missiles and energy projectiles. The crew was amazed at the speed and precision of the responses. It was as if the battleship could see the threats before they were even fired. The AI worked seamlessly with the humans, calculating optimal maneuvers and targeting, making the ship feel like a single, unstoppable entity rather than a collection of systems. The battleship's offensive capabilities were tested immediately. Using advanced targeting and energy weapons, it struck at the alien fleet with unmatched precision. Unlike conventional weapons, which could take minutes or hours to target and destroy enemy vessels, the battleship neutralized multiple ships almost simultaneously. Each strike was calculated, avoiding unnecessary destruction while ensuring the enemy could no longer continue their attack. Observers from distant colonies, watching the battle unfold through monitoring satellites, were stunned. Humanity had always been considered a minor force in the galaxy, but this ship was proving otherwise. One of the most remarkable aspects of the engagement was the use of the quantum lock. The ship was able to teleport short distances instantaneously, appearing in unexpected positions to confuse the enemy. Alien commanders were unprepared for such movements. Their formations became disorganized as the battleship struck from angles they had not anticipated. It was a display of strategy and technology combined, showcasing not just the raw power of the vessel, but also the ingenuity and skill of its crew. Every decision, every maneuver, was guided by both human judgment and machine intelligence, creating a synergy that the enemy could not counter. As the battle continued, the crew realized the full potential of their vessel. The ship's systems allowed them to track every enemy vessel, calculate trajectories, and predict movements in real time. It was as though the battleship could anticipate what the aliens would do next, giving humans a significant advantage. The crew felt a mixture of awe and responsibility. They were controlling something that could completely overwhelm the opposition, yet they had to make sure their actions were precise and effective. It was a delicate balance between power and control, and every member of the crew rose to the challenge. The alien fleet attempted to adapt, changing tactics and concentrating fire on the human vessel. But the battleship was always one step ahead. Its shields absorbed the attacks, while the ship's advanced propulsion allowed it to maneuver unpredictably, striking from angles that the enemy could not defend against. Energy weapons fired with pinpoint accuracy, targeting weak points in the alien ships and neutralizing them systematically. The battle was decisive. Within hours, the hostile fleet was retreating, scattered, and unable to regroup. Humanity had not just defended the colony, they had demonstrated a level of technological and strategic superiority that left their enemies in awe. During the engagement, the crew witnessed something extraordinary. The battleship seemed to learn in real time, adapting to the tactics of the alien fleet with increasing efficiency. Each maneuver became smoother, each response faster, and the targeting even more precise. It was clear that the combination of human intuition and advanced AI had created a system that could grow stronger in the midst of battle. The crew began to realize that this ship was more than a weapon, it was a partner, responding to challenges with an intelligence that complemented their own as the final moments of the conflict approached. The alien fleet had been neutralized to the point that they posed no further threat. The battleship remained unscathed, a testament to its design and the skill of its crew. The humans had achieved what once seemed impossible. They had faced a superior force and emerged victorious without losing a single ship. The impact of this victory was felt not only in the immediate system, but across human colonies, where news of the battle spread rapidly. People celebrated the crew and their ship, recognizing that this moment marked a turning point for humanity in the galaxy. In the aftermath, the crew reflected on what they had accomplished. They understood that their actions had far-reaching implications. The quantum-locked battleship had proven that humans could defend themselves against even the most advanced and aggressive alien forces. It had also demonstrated that humanity's ingenuity, courage, and collaboration could produce results that no one had thought possible. For the first time, humans were not just participants in the galactic community, they were a force to be reckoned with. The battle also served as a lesson in responsibility. The crew realized that their power was immense and that misuse could have catastrophic consequences. Every decision, every action had to be guided by ethical considerations and strategic thinking. The ship was capable of unparalleled destruction, but its true strength lay in the way humans used it to protect rather than to dominate. This principle became central to the philosophy of operating the battleship, ensuring that humanity would wield its new power with wisdom and care. Following the engagement, scientists and engineers began analyzing the data from the battle. They studied how the ship had performed, noting areas for improvement and ways to enhance its capabilities even further. Every test, every maneuver, and every tactical decision provided valuable insights. The lessons learned would guide future missions and help ensure that the ship and humanity remained prepared for any challenge the galaxy might present for the humans observing. From Earth and other colonies, the battle was a moment of pride and inspiration. People had seen the impossible become reality, witnessed courage and ingenuity triumph against overwhelming odds. The quantum-locked human battleship was no longer just a marvel of engineering. It was a symbol of human potential, a reminder that determination, collaboration, and intelligence could achieve extraordinary results. As the battleship returned to orbit for maintenance and upgrades, the crew carried with them a profound sense of accomplishment. They had faced real combat and had emerged victorious. They had seen the full potential of the ship and had understood what it meant to wield such power responsibly. The experience had bonded them further, creating a team capable of handling the most difficult challenges and preparing them for the missions yet to come. The first conflict marked a turning point in human history. Humanity had gone from being observers in the galaxy to active participants, capable of defending their colonies and asserting their place among advanced civilizations. The quantum-locked human battleship had proven its worth, and its legacy would shape the future of exploration, defense, and strategy. The ship had shown that humans were not only capable of building extraordinary technology, but also of using it with intelligence and responsibility. Setting a standard for generations to come, the victory was celebrated. But the crew knew that this was only the beginning. The universe was vast and unpredictable, filled with civilizations whose intentions were unknown. Humanity now had a weapon of incredible power, but the true challenge would be learning to navigate the complex balance between strength and responsibility. The quantum-locked battleship had proven its might, but it had also shown that the human spirit, the courage, intelligence, and unity of the crew was what truly made it unstoppable. In the quiet moments after the battle, as the ship drifted through the stars, the crew reflected on everything they had experienced. They understood that history had been made, that their actions had changed the trajectory of humanity's future. The quantum-locked human battleship was no longer just a project or an experiment. It was a living T. The victory of the quantum-locked human battleship sent shockwaves far beyond the immediate battlefield. While the crew returned from their mission with a mixture of pride and relief, people across Earth and the outer colonies were learning about the extraordinary events. For centuries, humans had been seen as minor players in the galaxy, always careful, cautious, and dependent on alliances with more advanced civilizations. Now, everything had changed. Humanity had proven that it could not only survive, but dominate when faced with the right challenge. Governments on Earth held emergency sessions to discuss the implications of the battleship's success. Leaders from multiple nations, who had once disagreed on space exploration priorities, now saw a unified opportunity. The ship had shown that human ingenuity and collaboration could create something truly extraordinary, something that no other civilization could easily match. Discussions were intense, with debates about how best to use this newfound power. Some argued for expanding the fleet, ensuring that humans could defend all their colonies, while others emphasized caution, worrying about provoking hostility from civilizations that had previously considered humans harmless. Meanwhile, scientists and engineers continued to study the data from the first conflict. Every movement of the ship, every defensive response, and every offensive strike was analyzed in detail. They were not just celebrating the victory, they were learning from it. Each insight led to improvements in technology, strategies, and training. The battleship had performed exceptionally, but humans knew that space was unpredictable. The more they understood the ship, the better prepared they would be for the future. This process of constant refinement became a defining characteristic of the human approach. Combining careful observation with bold action, the human colonies, particularly those that had been under threat, experienced a newfound sense of security. People who had once feared attacks from hostile alien forces could now live and work with confidence. Trade routes opened more freely, and colonies expanded their infrastructure, knowing that the battleship could intervene if danger arose. The presence of such a powerful protector inspired confidence, but it also reminded everyone that humanity now carried responsibilities on a galactic scale. The battleship was a shield, yes, but it was also a symbol of human capability, and that symbol commanded respect. Across the galaxy, other civilizations began to take notice. News of the battleship spread quickly, carried by scouts, traders, and information networks. Some aliens were curious, others cautious, and a few were openly fearful. Humanity's rise had been quiet, almost unnoticed for decades, but now it could no longer be ignored. Diplomats and strategists from other worlds began to approach human leaders, some seeking alliances, others simply wishing to observe from a safe distance. For the first time, humanity was recognized as a serious force, a civilization that could no longer be dismissed. Within the human leadership, there was a sense of awe and responsibility. The battleship was not just a tool of war, it was a strategic asset with the power to influence politics, trade, and diplomacy across multiple star systems. Leaders had to consider not only immediate threats, but also long-term consequences. Every decision about deploying the ship could affect relationships with other civilizations, potentially creating alliances or tensions that would last for generations. It became clear that humanity's approach to power would define its role in the galaxy for years to come. The crew of the battleship returned to Earth orbit for rest and maintenance. But their experiences were far from over. They were hailed as heroes, but they also understood that their success had set a new standard for human capability. Training programs for new crew members intensified, emphasizing not only technical skills, but also ethical decision-making and strategic thinking. The battleship had demonstrated its strength, but humans knew that intelligence, judgment, and responsibility were just as important as raw power. The lessons learned in the first battle were being applied to every aspect of space operations. The battleship itself became a focal point for scientific innovation. Engineers experimented with ways to enhance its systems, improve efficiency, and expand its operational range. New technologies were developed to support long-term missions, ensuring that humans could maintain a presence in distant regions of the galaxy. The ship was no longer just a single vessel. It became the foundation for a new era of human advancement in space, inspiring innovations that touched every aspect of life. From energy systems to materials science. Public perception of humanity also shifted dramatically. People on Earth and in the colonies began to see themselves as capable of extraordinary achievement. Stories of the battleship and its crew spread across communications networks, inspiring hope, ambition, and pride. Children dreamed of becoming engineers, pilots, or strategists, while adults marveled at the scale of human ingenuity. The ship had become more than a weapon. It was a symbol of possibility, showing that humans could create, innovate, and rise to challenges no one else thought they could. The presence of the battleship also prompted discussions about ethics and responsibility on a galactic scale. Leaders, scientists, and philosophers debated how such power should be used. Could it be deployed to enforce peace? Should it intervene only in direct threats? Or could it act as a deterrent to prevent conflict? These discussions were not theoretical. They influenced real decisions about strategy, deployment, and future missions. Humanity had acquired unprecedented power, but with it came the understanding that misuse could have catastrophic consequences. The responsibility weighed heavily on those in charge. In addition to diplomacy and ethics, the first battle had highlighted the importance of teamwork. The crew's coordination, combined with the ship's AI and systems, had been essential to success. Humans realized that no single individual, no matter how skilled, could operate such a vessel alone. This realization led to the development of comprehensive training programs, emphasizing collaboration, communication, and trust among crew members. Future missions would require teams that could operate seamlessly, ensuring that the full potential of the battleship could always be realized. The first conflict also spurred technological growth on a broader scale. Observing the ship's performance, scientists applied similar principles to other areas of human industry, from transportation and energy to manufacturing and medicine. The battleship had become a catalyst for innovation, demonstrating the value of pushing beyond traditional limits and combining human ingenuity with advanced technology. It was a reminder that great achievements often have ripple effects, influencing society in ways that extend far beyond their immediate purpose. As humanity reflected on these events, it became clear that the battleship was not merely a weapon, but a turning point. It had redefined what humans could achieve, both in terms of technological capability and strategic influence. Colonies were safer, trade routes more secure, and humans were now recognized as a serious power in the galaxy. The lessons learned from this experience would shape policy, research, and education for decades, ensuring that humanity could build on its successes and face future challenges with confidence. Yet, despite all the progress and celebration, humans remained humble. The universe was vast and unpredictable, filled with civilizations and phenomena they had yet to encounter. The battleship had proven its worth, but it had also reminded humanity of the importance of caution, preparation, and thoughtful decision-making. Power alone was not enough. Understanding, responsibility, and unity were equally crucial. The crew, scientists, and leaders alike carried this knowledge, knowing that their actions would continue to shape the future of human civilization. In the end, the first conflict and its aftermath marked a profound transformation. Humanity had moved from a position of vulnerability to one of strength, demonstrating courage, intelligence, and adaptability. The quantum-locked human battleship had become a symbol of what was possible when humans worked together, combining knowledge, skill, and determination to achieve something extraordinary. Its success had ensured safety, inspired innovation, and reshaped humanity's role in the galaxy. The battleship's presence now represented more than defense. It symbolized the promise of a future where humans could explore, protect, and thrive in ways they had never imagined. Its legacy would extend beyond the immediate victories, shaping the development of technology, strategy, and society for generations to come. People everywhere understood that this was not just a ship. It was a testament to the human spirit, a reminder that when people dared to dream and work together, nothing was impossible. And so, as the crew prepared for the next chapter of their mission, the battleship floated silently through the stars, a beacon of human ingenuity and resilience. Its systems were ready, its crew trained, and its potential limitless. The first conflict had shown what it could do, but the future held challenges even greater. Humanity had proven its power, but it had also learned the value of responsibility, strategy, and unity. The battleship had changed everything, and the galaxy would never look at humans the same way again. The quantum-locked human battleship had achieved more than anyone could have imagined. After its first trials, its initial conflicts, and the global and galactic recognition that followed, the ship became a symbol of human potential. But the true story of its legacy was only beginning. Beyond its power and technological marvel, it represented something far deeper: the unity, determination, and ingenuity of humanity itself. People began to understand that this vessel was more than a weapon. It was a reflection of who humans could become when they dared to reach beyond their limits. In the months after the first major conflict, humans across Earth and the colonies were still digesting the events. Reports of the battleship's capabilities circulated widely, inspiring scientists, engineers, students, and ordinary citizens alike. Universities added new courses on quantum propulsion, energy systems, and advanced AI, while research centers were flooded with ideas for further innovations. It was no longer a question of whether humans could compete in the galaxy. It was a question of how far they could go. The battleship had opened doors that had once seemed permanently closed. The crew continued to train rigorously, preparing for missions that were likely to become more complex. They practiced maneuvers, tested emergency protocols, and ran simulations of potential encounters with other advanced civilizations. Each exercise was designed to ensure that the ship's systems and the crew's skills were perfectly synchronized. Over time, the humans aboard the ship began to develop an almost intuitive connection with it. The battleship seemed to understand them, responding to their thoughts and intentions in a way that blurred the line between human and machine. This bond became essential, allowing them to operate at a level that no other crew in the galaxy could achieve. As humanity expanded its reach, the battleship took on a variety of missions beyond direct combat. It became a protector of vulnerable colonies, a responder to natural disasters, and even a tool for exploration in uncharted space. Its advanced sensors and quantum systems allowed it to map unknown regions, identify resources, and detect anomalies that no other ship could reach. The vessel's presence brought safety and stability to regions that had previously been isolated and at risk. It was no longer just a weapon. It was a guardian, a pioneer, and a symbol of human ingenuity that reassured populations across countless star systems. The victories of the battleship also brought profound lessons in leadership and responsibility. Those who commanded the ship learned that power alone was not enough. It required wisdom, foresight, and empathy. Decisions about when to act, whom to assist, and how to maintain peace became as important as technical skill. The crew's experiences shaped them into leaders who could think beyond immediate results and consider the long-term consequences of their actions. In many ways, the human battleship became a school of leadership, teaching lessons that would influence generations to come. Diplomatic consequences followed as well. Other civilizations, once dismissive of humans, now approached with caution, respect, or curiosity. Some sought alliances, recognizing the potential for collaboration, while others maintained distance, wary of challenging a species with such unprecedented capabilities. Diplomats and strategists on Earth worked to balance these relationships, ensuring that humanity's rise would be guided by negotiation and foresight rather than aggression. The battleship, while capable of unparalleled destruction, became a tool for demonstrating responsibility and fostering cooperation. A reminder that true power includes the ability to choose restraint. In the human colonies, the battleship's legacy was tangible. Colonists spoke of it not only with admiration, but with pride. It inspired advancements in infrastructure, communication, and transportation. Education systems emphasized innovation, critical thinking, and collaboration, instilling in younger generations the understanding that they were part of a civilization capable of extraordinary achievement. Stories of the battleship became a part of everyday culture, told in schools, BROADCST, across communication networks, and discussed in public forums. It was not simply a machine. It had become a living symbol of possibility, ambition, and the value of working together toward a common goal. Technologically, the battleship set new standards. Every system, from propulsion to energy management to defense, influenced future human designs. Engineers studied its quantum lock, adaptive AI, and energy distribution systems, finding ways to apply these innovations in civilian projects. Transportation networks, medical technologies, and energy grids all benefited from the breakthroughs made during the construction and operation of the ship. Humanity had created something so advanced that its ripple effects touched almost every aspect of life, transforming societies across multiple planets. Yet, with all its achievements, the battleship also reminded humanity of its fragility. The universe was vast, unpredictable, and often hostile. The ship had proven humanity could face formidable threats, but it also underscored the need for vigilance, planning, and humility. The crew knew that their success was not permanent. Every mission carried risks, and each encounter in the cosmos could present challenges beyond imagination. This awareness reinforced a culture of preparedness, continuous learning, and strategic thinking that became central to human civilization's identity. The personal experiences of the crew also shaped the story of the ship. They were witnesses to the extraordinary capabilities of human ingenuity, yet they also confronted the emotional and psychological demands of their role. Moments of tension, fear, and triumph became shared experiences that bonded them deeply. The crew's journey illustrated a universal truth. Even in the presence of unparalleled technology, it is human courage, empathy, and judgment that define the outcome. Their stories became lessons not just for other crew members, but for all of humanity, emphasizing the power of teamwork, trust, and perseverance. Over time, the battleship began to be used in more ambitious projects. It ventured into regions of space that had never been explored, mapping star systems, studying cosmic phenomena, and discovering planets that could support life. Its quantum systems allowed it to reach places no other ship could, making it a critical tool for scientific discovery. Each mission added to humanity's knowledge, expanding their understanding of the universe and revealing opportunities for future colonization, trade, and research. The ship became a bridge between the known and the unknown, a pathfinder for human advancement. The impact of the battleship extended to culture and philosophy as well. Humans began to see themselves differently, not merely as inhabitants of one small planet, but as participants in a vast, interconnected universe. Art, literature, and media celebrated exploration, ingenuity, and cooperation. Philosophers and educators used the ship as an example of the potential inherent in human collaboration and responsibility. It became a symbol that progress was possible when intelligence, courage, and ethical decision-making worked together toward a common purpose. The battleship also highlighted the importance of balance. Its power was immense, but its success depended on restraint and wisdom. Humans had learned that raw strength alone could not secure safety or respect. It was the combination of capability and thoughtful action that defined true power. The lessons of the ship informed every aspect of governance, strategy, and education. Humanity understood that to maintain their place in the galaxy, they needed not just advanced technology, but also foresight, integrity, and unity. Years passed, and the battleship continued its missions, each one reinforcing its role as a symbol of human potential. Colonies thrived under its protection. New technologies emerged from its systems, and humans became recognized as a serious force across multiple star systems. The ship itself seemed to evolve with time, as engineers and scientists continually improved its systems, integrating new discoveries and adapting to the ever-changing environment of space. It was a living legacy, a testament to human achievement that remained relevant across generations. In its most profound sense, the quantum-locked human battleship was more than a machine. It was a mirror reflecting humanity's best qualities: creativity, courage, resilience, and collaboration. Its story was not defined merely by its victories or its power, but by the people who built it, operated it, and learned from it. The ship demonstrated what was possible when humans worked together, applied their intelligence, and faced the unknown without fear. It was proof that even in the vast, uncaring universe, determination and ingenuity could shape destiny. Ultimately, the battleship became a timeless symbol. It represented humanity's ability to rise above limitations, to confront challenges with intelligence and bravery, and to use extraordinary power responsibly. It inspired generations to dream bigger, explore further, and work together for common goals. Its legacy was not only in the victories it achieved or the threats it neutralized, but in the hope and ambition it instilled in every human who looked to the stars and imagined what could be done as the ship continued to glide silently through the cosmos. Its quantum systems glowing faintly, the crew and all of humanity understood a simple truth: greatness is not measured by the power one wields, but by the wisdom, responsibility, and unity with which that power is used. The battleship had become more than a machine. It was a living testament to Huma,